Manga-Waido.
My name is Akari. My parents got married as soon as they turned 20, and I was born not long after. Apparently, they got married against their parents' wishes, so they weren't able to receive any financial support. Since they were also inexperienced, they weren't able to find proper jobs, and we barely got by from day to day. But I was happy. Until my sister was born. You're so cute, Akari-chan!
I could stare at her all day.
My sister was born when I was 4 years old, and my parents started directing all their attention towards her. Maybe it's normal for things like this to happen when a new child is born. But they only diverted more and more attention to her the older she got, and by the time I was in elementary school, my parents only loved her. It's because my little sister is really pretty. While I, on the other hand, don't look that good. One day, she took the doll my parents gave me long ago. But when I told Mom to make Akari give it back, she told me that I needed to be more patient since I was the older one. And even when the painting I made that won an award was ruined by my sister, she said the same thing once again. Is the food not ready yet, Akari?
Hey, I'm gonna be late for work at this rate! Hurry up!
They started making me do all of the housework, including taking care of my sister. But by then, I had convinced myself that it couldn't be helped, since we were poor and my parents both had to work. I couldn't study even if I wanted to, and once I graduated middle school, I got a part-time job to help with the family's finances. But even after working so hard, they tell me things like, do the laundry before eating, and they don't let me eat at the table with them. You don't have to focus on your own studies, so help Akari instead, is something my mom says a lot. I lost my patience just once and told my mom, why don't you do the housework and take care of Akari as well? But, what a rude child, and to think I raised you. I regretted it after she started screaming and throwing things. I didn't feel like I was being raised by them at all, and I even had to clean up the things she threw around. I decided not to argue with them anymore, since it only made things worse for me. One day, my dad got home in a good mood for a change.
Hey, Akari, I found a place for you to work!
What?
You see, I happened to see a flyer posted on a house on my way home from work today. Apparently, they're looking for live-in employees. Aren't you glad, Akari?
What? But I'm only 15. A live-in employee? I'm gonna go live with a stranger?
You aren't enthusiastic about it? But it's an amazing deal! You don't have to pay for rent, and they'll even give you food.
Yeah, great idea. No company is going to hire a middle school graduate anyways. Let's send you there immediately. Mom joined in and tried to convince me to take the job. No, she was trying to make me leave. To think that they didn't care a single bit about me. But wait, it might be better than working as a housekeeper at a house like this. I understand. I agreed to their proposition. The next day, my parents took me to the house that had a flyer on it.
We're here!
Mom rang the doorbell and out came… Huh? A bald man wearing sunglasses with a huge scar on his face. Is he a Yakuza? My parents ignored me while I stood there in shock and went inside the house. I was so scared, I didn't even consider refusing to come in, and so I followed my parents. We sat down on a sofa at what seemed to be a waiting room.
Her name is Akari. Do whatever you want with her. Yoshiko Onigai Shimazu. Whatever I want, huh?
Yes. I can send you her stuff as soon as we get home. She's not our child anymore. Consider her your child now and make her do whatever you want. My parents seemed to be a bit scared of the Yakuza-looking man and were trying to get things over with quickly so that they could go home.
Bye then, Akari. Take care.
Oh, send us your salary, all right? You already know the bank account. Said my parents and hurriedly went home. It looks like they finally threw me away.
Time for you to do what I say then.
I closed my eyes, terrified as to what he was going to do to me.
Just kidding. Could you tell me about the life you've had up until now?
What? I couldn't understand what was going on. Does he have some sort of ulterior motive? I didn't know what to do, so I decided to stop caring and tell this man about how my parents had treated me like a housemaid growing up. Words started flowing out of my mouth once I started talking, and for some reason, I felt better afterwards.
I thought it was something like that. Thanks for telling me about your situation.
Once I finished my story, the bald man thanked me. I felt ticklish for some reason.
You see, all the kids here are like you. They didn't receive their parents' love growing up.
I see.
I have bad eyesight and always wear sunglasses, which is why you might have got the wrong idea. But I'm actually a monk. When I put out that flyer, parents like yours come here to give me their children. My objective is to save you from your parents' situation and make your parents repent their actions.
I didn't know what to say since it was all so unexpected. Apparently, he works here at his house, taking care of children with nowhere else to go whenever he doesn't have work to do at the temple. 3 other kids live in his house, and they were all children who didn't receive their parents' love, like me. Welcome, Hikari-chan. You must be hungry, right? Time for lunch, everyone. You're our family now, Hikari-chan. The bald monk's wife, who unlike him looked like a really kind person, started preparing food. It was so different to the treatment I had received up until now, which is why I couldn't help but crying. I'll do my best. Yoroshione gaishimasu. My work started for real from the next day. I went to the temple where the monk's wife taught me how to do desk work. Running a temple involved more desk work than I had imagined, and I found out that doing funerals wasn't the only thing temples were in charge of. The kids here have all been hurt, but that means they're better at understanding others' feelings than other people. I'm sure you'll get good at this job immediately, Hikari-chan. Like the monk's wife said, I got a hang of my new job relatively and started getting along with the temple's parishioners. 1 year passed, and then 2. By that time, I had gained popularity among the people around me. Hikari-chan is so good at listening. There's no other place as relaxing as here, say the people who lost family and come to the temple after having a conversation with me. I was still young and not even a monk, which is why what I was doing was just basically talking to people who came to the temple when I had time from work. But as time went by, I started receiving donations to the temple from the people who came. One day, the monk told me this while handing me a brown envelope.
You earned this money through your own hard work, Hikari-chan, so here.
The monk smiled and gave me my first ever bonus. I was so happy since it felt like I was being accepted for the first time. I can send my family a large allowance, I thought to myself, getting carried away. And so I called my mother.
Oh, Hikari? What is it? Oh, is that so? That's not much compared to the money I spent raising you. Stop calling me, will you? You're not my child anymore.
My mother was still the same even after 2 years. Actually, I think she's even harsher to me now than before. Because I got carried away, I ended up just hurting myself again. I regretted calling her. But it didn't bother me as much as it used to. I am myself. There are people who rely on me now, and I have a place to be. But one day, around 2 months after that, something happened. My mother suddenly barged into the monk's house. She went in without permission and found me.
Please, Hikari, help us. Dad got into an accident.
What? Apparently, Dad was majorly injured and hospitalized, and so he couldn't work for a few months. The hospitalization fees are immense, but they barely have any savings, she said.
We won't be able to survive at this rate. You're the only hope we have left. Give money to your family.
So, she just wants money, huh? I was more surprised than sad. That's when the monk appeared and…
Long time no see, Hikari's mother. Huh? Isn't this the first time you came since bringing Hikari here?
That's…
Didn't you say that she wasn't your child anymore?
That was just a figure of speech.
Oh, I remember you and your husband left before I could even give you guys an explanation. Did you come back because you forgot to say something?
My mother couldn't take it anymore and kneeled down on the ground to apologize.
I'm so sorry.
She started explaining the situation to us while crying.
You see, when I got to the hospital to see your father, there was already a young woman there with him. He was cheating on me.
It seems that the person who called the ambulance also called the first number in Dad's phone chat history, which happened to be the number of the woman Dad was seeing. Mom got a call from the hospital, and so she went to see Dad only to find another woman with him.
Your father tried to get away with it using terrible excuses. I got mad at this other woman as well, so I slapped her in the face and told your father we were getting divorced.
I see.
Not just that, but this woman works at the same part-time job as me, and so now everyone there knows about Dad's adultery. I can't stay in that workplace anymore.
I see.
Akari as well. Ever since you left, she's had to do all the housework you used to do, and now she doesn't want to go to school due to stress. This family is a mess now. I miss when you were with us.
I see. I listened to my mother's words as if I was listening to a parishioner at the temple. I saw my mother's facial expressions change the more she talked.
Both good things and bad things always come back to you in one way or another. It looks like you and your family have finally repented your actions and learned gratitude.
Yes, it's just as you say. I don't know what I should say to you, Hikari, for everything until now. I won't tell you to forgive me, but I'm so sorry.
Seeing my mother apologize to me made my feelings of enjoyment of her dire situation disappear, and instead, I started feeling proud. Can I return home for a bit, Monk?
Of course! Do what you think is right. You can stay here, or you can go back home and help your family.
Thank you. I stopped living at the monk's house and instead started going to the temple to work every day from my old house. Still though, I was surprised as to just see how little money my family had. Apparently, my father had been using the money I sent them with his mistress of his. He apologized, but my mother didn't forgive him and so they got divorced. My sister started feeling better as well once I returned, and eventually started going to school again. Sorry for everything until now, sister. She started thanking me for the things I did, and we returned to how we used to be like when we were young. My mom repented her past actions as well. She found a new job, and now the three of us have dinner at the same table every day. That reminds me, apparently my father started living with his mistress after he recovered from his injury, but then she told him that she didn't need a man without any money. She threw him away before a year had even passed. Apparently, he now lives on his own without even a job. It's karma. What you do to the world always comes back around. According to the monk, this was all prepared by Buddha to give us a chance to learn. I don't understand difficult things like that yet, but I do feel like I'm a lot more mature now compared to before I met the monk. This is truly all thanks to him and his wife. I'm going to forget about my past hatred and instead look towards the future with my family.